Hello and welcome to a new video, and welcome to the final installment of my easy, medium or hard series where I have been testing the difficulty level rating of Vogue patterns. Today I'm tackling the final level, which is called Advanced, and the pattern I'm doing is this one, which is V1524. It's a jumpsuit pattern and I love a jumpsuit. Though I might have to modify this a bit, which I have been trying not to do throughout this series, trying to do the patterns exactly as they come and follow the instructions completely. But if you've seen any of my other jumpsuit videos, I have a annoyingly long torso and most jumpsuit patterns just do not fit me. But this one is not a, for lack of a better term, fully enclosed jumpsuit. It has an open back, so maybe that will give it a bit more leeway in the torso area. I'm not sure. I'll have a better idea once I have the pattern cut out and I can sort of measure it and measure me. I'm going to use this fun polka dot fabric. Not sure if you can see it from there, but there is tiny little polka dots in it, which I think will be great. From the distance, it'll look like a classy black jumpsuit, but then up close, the colorful polka dots will be a fun feature. And this fabric also has a bit of stretch to it, which the pattern does say the bodice section needs, and I've just decided to make the whole jumpsuit out of the same fabric. I figure it'll be more comfortable if the pants also have a bit of stretch, and I also just really like this fabric. So let's get to cutting this out. I've got everything cut out now. There is a lot of pieces, but I don't think there's as many as there were in the last pattern. So maybe it'll be a little less complicated. I did end up adding 3 inches to the crotch length because I measured it all and went, ooh, she might be a bit tight. I'd rather add that in and then not be able to wear them. So hopefully that will be enough and not too much. I don't know. We'll see. First thing now is to interface these 3 pieces, and then the bodice gets put together. I may need to go out and get a zip because I don't think I have a zip that will fit in this pattern. most of the bodice is together, but the next step that they tell me to do in the instructions is put the zipper in the back, which I don't currently have. I've got a lot of zips in my stash, but not many open-ended ones, and that's what this one needs. So I'm gonna have to go out probably tomorrow and try and find one. But in the meantime, I'm gonna move to the next step in the instructions, which is to put the lining together. So basically, this again. I've now got 2 bodices, and that is as far as I can go until I go and find me a zip. So I'm going to put these aside and start working on the pants section of this jumpsuit. So with the pants, I'm starting with the front piece and putting some pleats in, which is these 2, and then I can do pockets. Gotta have some pockets. That's my fronts together, complete with pocket. Yay! Now I can put them aside and I'm going to work on the back pieces. The back pieces also have a pocket, but it is a welt pocket. I have only ever done a welt pocket once before, and it was about 2 years ago. So this may take a little bit of brain power to figure this out, but I do, of course, have instructions to follow. So let's do this. Now I've got the backs of my pants prepared with the welt pocket inserted, which is very exciting. These pants have 4 whole pockets. Luxury. So the next thing that needs to happen with these back pieces is the invisible zip that goes in the center back, and then they can be attached to the front. I did, however, go to Spotlight this morning and get a zip and maybe a few other things. They just had such a great sale on this morning and I maybe got a few pieces. Let me show you what I got because I'm excited. First of all, the zip that I actually went for and a buckle, because there is also a buckle in the back of the bodice, which I didn't have. I don't think this is quite right because it's quite a chunky one. Like, it's more for bags and backpacks, that sort of thing. But it was all they had. And so I'm going to use this and then maybe see if I can find a sort of sleeker, more apparel-worthy one in the future. But for now, it's enough to finish the garment. Some overlocking thread, also not exciting, but had to be bought. And then for the fun stuff, I got some fabrics. Because it is halfway through October already, I'm starting to think about Christmas. Don't know about you guys. I guess Halloween technically comes first, but we don't do a lot of Halloween in Australia. Although I am planning a Halloween outfit, which this plain green cotton is for. This will probably just be an accent color, not the actual thing. So that's for that. This lovely green linen, I was thinking maybe a Christmassy skirt, along with this sort of brocade that looks a bit like Christmas baubles. I thought that could be sort of a fun Christmas outfit, maybe a vest out of this one and a nice skirty dress out of this. Something not too heavy because Christmas in Australia is hot. And then lastly, this, I think it's called a laser cut velvet. It's basically sheer but with the velvet bits in it. And I just thought it would make a really nice forest fairy type cape, maybe dress, not sure. So yeah, those were a few impulse buys, but I do have plans for all of them. I didn't just buy fabric that was pretty, which I am known to do. So yeah, that was a fun morning. Now I'm going to continue on with this project. I think since I'm currently working on the pants, I'm going to just finish the pants and then jump back to the bodice. Because really all that's left is an invisible zipper and side seams. So yes, let's finish the pants section. I've done an oops. I thought the zipper went in way too smoothly. I've put it in the wrong edge. So I put it in the side seam of the back rather than the center back seam. So now my back side seams are attached to each other. This zip is supposed to be over here. Yeah, oops. Now I get to undo it and re-stitch it over here. pant section is all together and finished except for the hem, but that comes last. So now I can put this aside and go back to my bodice pieces. So to finish the bodice, I need to put the zip in, and then I can continue on this section and attach the lining. Bodice is all together with the zip in and finished. So now I can attach that to the pants, and there is also an internal facing that finishes off the seams inside once the bodice is attached. So let's turn this into one. The two pieces are together, so it is now a jumpsuit! Yay! Now I just need to finish it off by putting the buckle on these center back straps, and I also need to do the hem, but I am probably gonna have to chop off about 3 inches before I can do the hem, seeing as I added 3 inches up here. So I'm gonna try it on and check the length. Done some trying on and checking different lengths, and I think if I chop off 1 inch of the total length and then do the hem at the 4.5 centimeters that is specified in the instructions, then it should be a good length on me. So that's what I'm going to do to each leg. And then for the buckle, this is the one I got at the shops yesterday, but I think it is just too big and chunky. But I do have a couple of this sort of clasp. I don't know that it's going to be big enough here to fit the strap through, and I have it in clear as well, but I think it's about the same size. I might try one of these two before trying this one, just because I think that'll be much nicer on my back than this big chunky bag buckle essentially. So those are the last things to do, and then it will all be done. I did manage to use the smaller clasp in the back, and the hem is done, so this is all finished. Let's go try it on. The final level achieved. This is what Vogue Patterns considers an advanced pattern. And you know what? Apart from the welt pocket in the back of the pants, I think the rest of it was at an intermediate level. The welt pocket was really fiddly and the instructions weren't super clear, so for me, that's what I would say pushed it over into an advanced level pattern. But you guys tell me, what would you consider this pattern to be? Intermediate or advanced? Or easy? I guess some people would consider this easy. If you made jumpsuits all day, every day, no matter what it is, eventually it becomes easy, right? This took me 15.5 hours to complete. So actually less time than this ensemble, even with the fiddly welt pockets. As to anything I'd changed during the construction process, I don't think there's actually anything. It all went together really nicely. All the pattern pieces matched up well. So yeah, I would just do it as the pattern told me. Style-wise, however, I do think I'd maybe make the collar half the width. It's a little bit restricting and high to be comfortable. Like, it is a stretchy fabric, so it's not actually restricting, but it is very up there in my jawline, and it's a bit annoying. So I would probably do it at half the width. Even just fold it down, which I don't think is bad. Fit-wise, this side area sits a little funny and I think needs a little tweaking to get that right. And the back of the pants is quite big, but that's probably on me choosing the wrong size. That sort of thing is on me, not the pattern. But I haven't made any fit adjustments so that you can see what the pattern is exactly out of the box, the packet, except of course for the torso lengthening adjustment through the crotch line there, where I added 3 inches, and I'm very glad I did. I now have full range of movement in this jumpsuit, which if I hadn't added those 3 inches, should be uncomfortable. But right now it's perfect. But this does mark the end of this series. I have now made 1 each of Vogue patterns, very easy, average and advanced patterns, and I agree with about half their ratings. The first 2, the very easy and easy, I think were a step up from what I would consider very easy and easy to be. But then intermediate and advanced, I feel like we're about right. So they start off with a high level, but they don't necessarily go crazy high because there's no huge skill jump in between the levels. There may be more pieces to the pattern and maybe 1 or 2 unfamiliar techniques per pattern, such as welt pockets or inbuilt skirt pocket flaps or bound buttonholes, but the rest of it is pretty doable. The techniques are more hard because they're unfamiliar than hard because they're actually difficult. But let me know what you think about them and let me know if you've enjoyed this series. I noticed when searching through my pattern stash way back at the beginning that Butterick and McCall's also do rate their patterns, so it could be fun to try theirs and also compare them to the Vogue standard. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this journey. I've had a lot of fun doing this series, and bonus, I now have 4 new items for my wardrobe that I've been eyeing off for a while now. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you next week for a new sewing adventure. Bye!